Okay.
Hey guys, and welcome to Tnashi's Movie Corner. And for today's review, I decided that I was going to review ScarFace, which came out in 1983 at 170 minutes long and was directed by Brian De Palma and written by Oliver Stone, and stars Al Pacino and Michelle Pfeiffer. So, basically, this movie is it takes place in 1980 Miami, and a determined Cuban immigrant takes over a drug cartel, and while succumbing to greed, and that immigrant is Tony Montana, who's played by Al Pacino. And I want to say up front, he did a brilliant job. I've actually, up until today, I actually hadn't seen this movie. I've seen a few tidbits from it, but I've never actually seen the movie. So I thought I'd take this opportunity to watch it and see how good it is. I know it's considered a classic by everybody. Sometimes I agree with that. You got, like Jaws and Jurassic Parks. I think those are really good. But then you have like The Wizard of Oz, which I'm sorry, I just don't like. I don't agree with that. So I was curious what I would feel coming from this movie, and I actually really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was really good. Seeing the rise and fall ultimately of Tony Montana was very interesting. There was more focus on his kind of rise to power, and a little bit less focus on him succumbing to greed and kind of his own self-made corruption. That was, it kind of brought itself about in him because he had to work so hard to get to the point where he was, and then he kind of got this mindset in him that, well, now that he has this power, he is the power, and there's he can do whatever he wants. He doesn't have to abide by any rules, any restrictions whatsoever, and that becomes kind of a problem. And then of course there's a whole little subplot with his sister and his kind of, I guess, best friend. I don't really know what you would I think the guy's name was Manny, but there's this whole deal with that, and that kind of reaches a boiling point and everything, which is right before the real climax of the movie. But to see this guy, to see him rise up, was particularly entertaining to watch, to see how it works. And there was a kind of when he first gets, I think Frank is the guy that he works for initially. When he first gets introduced to Frank lays down some kind of rules that you have to abide by, which it's funny because one of them is don't deal your own product, don't take your own product, and Tony kind of goes against that, and I think that may have resulted in part of his downfall. But it was a really interesting movie, a really good movie. All the acting was good across the board. Again, specifically Al Pacino, but Michelle Pfeiffer did a really good job as well. And then you have Stephen Bayer. I don't know, I probably said that wrong. And Robert Loggia, Miriam Collin. Just everyone that worked in this movie did really good. And there's some really good visuals in this film. It does look a little dated at times. That's to be expected. I mean, it's an older movie, so I don't really fault it too much for that. There are parts, though. There are times when visually it'll focus on Al Pacino's face, and it'll have this kind of weird music going. It takes me out of the movie a little bit. And like I said, the movie goes through his kind of entire life, rising up, and then taking over this drug cartel. But you don't see the fallout take place as long. It's there's a montage when he actually becomes the leader, and that's fine. I expected that kind of thing to happen in this, but when it comes to his actual decline, we don't get as much focus on it. It just kind of happens within the last portion of the movie, and I think overall the movie is too long. It's a particularly long movie, and you feel like that when you're watching it. It does feel like it's dragging on too bit, but I do really like this movie. I think overall the plot worked out pretty well, and I really liked all the characters involved. I like seeing this film. I like seeing this character who sometimes, you start off and you kind of like the character, and then you get to a point where you kind of hate the character, and it's like a back and forth. But even when he was on his way to losing everything, there were certain things that he wouldn't give in to, and I thought that was pretty neat to see that. But giving this a rating 1 through 10, I'm gonna have to go ahead. I think I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. I'm not gonna give it quite a 10. Again, I would have preferred more focus on his decline and power, and him succumbing to that greed and everything. I would have preferred that, especially when they hinted that so early on that could happen. And I do feel like the movie's too long, so there's a few bits and pieces that they probably could have cut down or edited slightly to where it fit better as a movie. And like I said, some of the music at times and everything was a bit off, but overall I think it's a really good movie, and I agree with people liking this movie and labeling it a classic. Certainly makes sense to me, and I think Oliver Stone did a pretty good job at the screenplay. So that's it for this review. But have you guys seen this movie? I'm sure you probably have, but have you seen it, and do you agree? Let me know down in the comments what you felt about this movie. And as always, if you enjoy this, click that like button, share this vid, and make sure to subscribe to my channel and watch my other videos, and share your opinions with me. I really like hearing from you guys. So yeah, that'll wrap this up. So until next time, peace.